Now let us start with our first practical. This will be our first Azure Data Factory lab. Okay. So we have one business use case. Okay. And this business use case is like we have a data store in a Azure SQL database. Okay. And we want to get the data into a CSV format and we want to store that data into a storage account so that our data analytics and data science people can do analysis by using a CSV data. Okay. So what actually is happening? We have a Azure SQL database. Okay. So this is our Azure SQL database, and this is our storage account. So in SQL database we have a table. This table, so many tables are there. So what actually we want to do is like we want to do a ADF. We want to perform a ADF here. Like we want to create a data pipeline to move the data from this SQL database to the storage account. We want to move this data. We want to move this data from a SQL database to the storage account. So, and this will be in CSV format. So this will be in CSV format. So whatever the table data will be there, that actually we have to store into CSV format, and this CSV format so that the data science and data analytics people can use this CSV format and they can build a model and they can do some kind of the analysis over here. So that is the requirement. Okay, so that is the business use case. Now what are the things which we are going to do? What we are going to do is like first we are going to create a storage account. We are going to create a storage account from a scratch, where we will create a two container. One is for the raw and one is for the curated folder. Okay. The second, we are also going to create a SQL database into Azure. So in Azure we will create a SQL data and we will take a sample database and table. Means we will be having sample database and so many tables will be there so that we can utilize that. After that we are going to create a data factory from a scratch. Okay, and after that we will open a data factory studio and we will create a data pipeline and we will transfer a data from a SQL database to a storage account. Okay, so these are the things which we are going to cover in this video. Okay, and this is the requirement which we have. Okay, so let us start. So let me open data factory. Okay, so this is my, so if you will log into the Azure account, this particular screen will come. Okay, our first requirement is like we are going to create a storage account. So to create a storage account, first we have to search a storage account. Just search into a search bar storage account, then click on this storage account. You can see we can create a storage account. Okay, click on this create storage account. So to create a storage account, to create a data factory, to create a SQL database, we should have two things. One is like subscription and another is resource group. So resource groups already I have created. If you don't have, you just click on this create new button and you can create it. Okay, that is simple. Just we have to give the name. Okay, once you have these two things, now after that, if you can see, we have to give the storage account name. So what we are going to give, we are going to give as a storage account as a POC storage analysis. Make sure it should be unique, otherwise it will give error. After that we have to select the region. I am selecting as a US, East US. Okay, but based on your region you can select that. Now if you can see performance, it is asking standard and premium. We are going with the standard. Now you can see the redundancy, it is asking for GRS. We are going by default. Just click on the next. This all the option I am going with by default. Click on next. Here also we have a public access so that we can access. We are going with by default. Data protection also by default. Click on the encryption. I don't want to encrypt anything now, but if you want you can do it, but I am going with by default. Next, you can give a name and value. POC storage, POC storage. Okay, after that click on the review and create. Once you will click on the review and create, you can see the it is going to validate, means validation is in progress. Now after that click on this create. Now you can see notification window, this deployment is in progress, means we have a our storage account will be creating. So you can see the deployment is in progress. Till then what we will do, our next step is like we have to create a SQL database also. To create a SQL database, search bar, just click on this SQL. You will get to see SQL database, click on that. Once you will click on this SQL database, there is two options, one is create from here and create from here. Just click on this create here. Once you will click on this SQL database, it will ask two things, one is subscription, another is resource group. I already created a resource group. It will ask subscription, it will ask resource group. I already created a resource group. After that it will ask for the database name. I am giving a POC database as a database name. After that we have to create a server. Okay, click on this server. We have to give a server name. Make sure it should be a unique. To make it unique, I am giving a random name. Okay, and after that we have to select the location, and after that it will ask for the SQL authentication. Make sure you remember this authentication, because we have to log in by this only. After giving the admin login and password, click on the OK. Our server is now created. Okay, this is the server we have created. Want to use elastic pool? No. The compute and storage. Okay, make sure you select a basic one for your learning purpose, because otherwise it is going to charge. Okay, click on this OK. After that click on this networking. You want to access the public endpoint, click on this public. Yeah, I want to access that. Click on the next security. Start with free trial, click on the next. I want to take a sample database, because with this I will be having a sample database and the table available. Okay, so I will click on that, and after that click on the review and create, and click on this create button. Now our this second process is our SQL database is also going to be created. Okay, first it is validating, and after that you can see the deployment is in progress. Click on this window. So previously we have created a storage account, right? Now it is going to create a SQL database, so that is also in progress. Now the third thing is like we have to create the data factory. Click on this data factory. I already have one data factory created, but we are going to create from scratch. Click on this create button. Once you will click on this create button, you will be having, it will ask for the resource group. I already have resource group. You have to give the name of your data factory. It should be unique. Okay, after that click on this next. I don't want to configure Git. Click on the networking. Public endpoint is fine. I don't want to encrypt the data as of now. Click on the review and create. You can see validation pass. Now click on this create. Now you can see this is also in progress. Now our SQL database deployment in progress. Our data factory deployment is progress. Our storage account is already ready. If you will click on this go to resources, you will see this is our storage account. Now let me click on this window, Microsoft Azure. Now it will show you whatever the activity you have done, right? So you can see you have created a storage account that is ready, and this is the resource group we have created that is also ready. Our two things are in progress. You can see our next thing is also ready. Let me check what is this. You can see our data factory is also got created. Okay, just click on this Microsoft Azure button. Click on this recently. Storage account is ready. Let me see it's completed or not. You can see deployment is still in progress. We have to wait for that. Click on this home button. Let's wait it to be completed. Our data factory is also ready. This is the data factory we have created. Only the SQL database is taking time, and it will take time like 1 to 2 minutes. It is almost about to be completed, just we have to wait. Okay, so let's coming to the requirement. We have created a storage account, we have created a SQL database, we have created a data factory. But in storage account, we have to create two container. One is for the raw, one is curated folder, right? Let me go to this my storage account. So this is the storage account I have created. Now if you can see in the left side, we have option of container. Click on this container. You can see plus button container. Click on this container. We have to create two container. One is raw. Click on this create. Our raw container is ready. If you click, there is no file available as of now. Okay, that is fine. Anyway, the second is curated. We have to give curated. Click on this create button. Our raw and curated, this is also done. Now if you click, our deployment is also proceed for the SQL database. Click on this go to resource. This is also ready. If you click on this query editor into database, we have to log in. Okay. This is the database which we have created, SQL database. Okay, so we have taken a sample database, that's why we have a table already available. Now if you want to query, select star from sales. You can say we have a different table available, but I want to take this product. Click on this run. You can see queries running. Okay, so this is the product information we have. This is the data we have. Now what actually we want to do is like this is the available into a sales lt dot product into a SQL database. Now this information actually we want to get it in CSV format, and that actually we will achieve, and that actually we will save into a storage account. So from this table, whatever the data we have, that actually we are going to save into a storage account in a CSV format. To achieve this, we have to create a data factory. Okay, so if we will come to this home page, okay, we have created one data factory, right? Just now click on this data factory, and you can see open Azure Data Factory Studio. Click on this open. So it will open a new window. Okay, that is the completely different screen. In the left side, we completely have a different Microsoft Azure screen. Okay, so here we have created a storage account, SQL database, and the data factory. But to create a pipeline, we have to come to this Data Factory Studio. Okay, this is the by default screen you will get to see. Click on this author. Now you can see we have an option of the pipeline, data set, data flow, and Power Query. Just click on this pipeline. Click on this new pipeline. Okay, once you will click on this new pipeline, you can see different options are available, different activities are available. We have a copy activity, data flow activity, data explorer, function, batch services, data bricks, data lake analytics, and all. But as of now, what we have to do, we have to copy a data which is available into SQL database, and we have to copy into a storage account. So just drag this copy data right side. Okay, once you will drag it, you can see we have option. It is showing like general, source, sync, mapping, setting, user property, name. You can see copy from SQL. Okay, means we are copying data from a SQL. Click here, this particular screen will come. Now it is asking the source. So what is the source? So to what is the source? To get the data from there, first we have to create a data set. You can see source data set, it is asking. You can see right side the new option is there. We have to first click on this new option. Once you will click on this new, so what is actually our data? So it is available into SQL database, right? So we have to create a connection. So to create a connection, first we have to select Azure SQL database. You can see we have a different option, means what, wherever their data will be there, you can create a data set from there with the help of connection. As of now, I have data available in SQL database, so I am going to click on this create SQL database, click on this continue, and after that link service means it will create a connection. So for we have to create a connection link service. Okay, click on this new. We can see SQL database connection. After that it will ask for the subscription. By default we have a subscription available. Now it will ask for the server name, whatever the server we have created into SQL database, that name we have to give. And from which table actually we want to get the data, like from which database, so that database we have to select. And after that database login and password we have to give. I'm just selecting that. Okay, now you can see bottom we have a test connection. Click on this test connection. It should be succeed. Connection is success. Click on this create. Once you will click on this create, you can see it is successfully created. Our link service is successfully created. Now we have to select the table name from where actually we want to get the data. So my table is available in lt.product. Okay, click on this OK. Now our source connection is now ready. Now if you can see we have option to query the data, or like if you want to only copy a specific data, that actually you can write a SQL query here. You can write a store procedure, but I'm going to just copy the table itself. Okay, after that the timeout period and all you can select it. Now next is sync. So sync is like our target, actually where actually we want to store. We want to store into a storage, right? So for that also we had to create a data set where actually we want to store into a storage. So for that also we will create a data set. Click on this new. Now we had to select the blob storage, because in blob storage we want to save. Click on that. Now which format we want to save? We want to save into a text CSV format. Click on this next. Now we have to create a connection, right? Create connection means we have to create a link service. Just give a name as a blob storage link service, right? We have to click on the create a link service new blob storage. Click on this subscription, click on this storage account. So our storage account is POC storage analysis, and after that click on this direct create button. So our the storage account will be created. Now you can see where actually you want to store. So if you will click on this file path button, this will open. I want to store into this raw. Click on this OK and click on this OK. Now our data where we have to load, that is also ready. We have our source is also ready. Once you do this activity, you have to click on this publish all button. Once you will click on this publish all button, it will be save whatever you are doing. Once it so it is in publishing mode. Once it will get complete, we will try to run this. Okay. Now if you want to see whether it's published or not, you will click on this monitor window. It is showing like it is in progress, so let it to be completed. You can see publish is completed now. Now you can see add trigger button, right? If you will click on this add trigger button and just click on this trigger now. So this trigger now, if you will click on this trigger now, our pipeline is getting started, so it is running. So what actually it is doing, like it is trying to get the data from our source, and for in the source we have selected a SQL database as a product table, and our target is like storage account. So there actually we are showing, and after that we had to publish it and we had to click on this trigger button. You can see it is succeed. Now we had to check like whether it is we got the data into a storage or not. So we have to first go into the storage account. So this is our storage account. Click here. Now go to the container. Once I will go to the container, click on this raw. You can see our says lt.product.txt format. This file actually is now created. If you want to see this data, click on this and download it. So we got the data into a txt format from a SQL database, right? So that is how actually this pipeline actually works. So three things you have to remember whenever you are going to create a pipeline. Okay, let me show you. First you should have a source. We will be having a source. In our case, source was a database. After that you have to create a data set and the link service. Okay, you first have to click on this data set. You have to create a data set. It will ask like what file actually, from where actually the file is coming. Like source is our SQL database. We had to get the connection from the SQL database, so we will create a link service. Now after that, the same for the target also, right? Target means a sink. We will be having a sink. For the sink also, where actually you want to store, for that we will create a data set and link service. After that we will publish it and we will run our data pipeline. So that is how actually we will get it. So this is the simple step we have to follow.